Hello and welcome to the weekly battle report of the LaRouche organization, bringing together organizing stories and battles from all around the world of the international LaRouche movement. Today is January 29th, and we would like to wish everyone a happy Lunar New Year. It is now beginning the Year of the Snake. We're starting tonight's report with a story from Germany, the home of Mrs. Helga Zepp LaRouche, the founder of the Schiller Institute, and the wife of the late economist and statesman Lyndon LaRouche. The Buzo Party in Germany has achieved ballot status in the upcoming federal elections. We're going to go right to a video from one of our candidates.
The Bürgerrechtsbewegung Solidarität, BÜSO, or in English Civil Rights Movement Solidarity, candidate slate in Berlin for the German federal, that is national elections on February 23rd, 2025, headed by Chairwoman Helga Zepp LaRouche, as well as the 4 direct candidates, was officially approved. My name is Jonathan Thron, and I'm also running in this election for the BÜSO, also as a direct candidate. It is extremely valuable that we have achieved this goal, since Germany urgently needs a change of its current political course. Therefore, we demand peace through development. That is the fundamental shift of strategic policy, without which the current wars and conflicts cannot be stopped. To stop all conflicts, all nations must cooperate. Therefore, the BÜSO is demanding that Germany cooperate with the BRICS plus nations. And Germany needs as well to sort out the speculative finances, which are the real cause for all those conflicts, and separate them from solid and real financing for productive industries. This is why we are also calling for a Glass-Steagall type of banking separation. Since the German elections are not on regular schedule, but are being held 6 months earlier, because the current government collapsed, we only had an extremely short preparation time, during which 2,000 valid signatures had to be collected for each state list and 200 for each direct candidate. That's why the BÜSO decided to concentrate its efforts on the nomination of candidates in the federal capital, Berlin. Some small German parties tried to reduce the needed amount of signatures and brought this case to the Constitutional Court. During the corona pandemic, this has led to a significant drop in needed signatures. But not this time, which is purely for political reasons, since the establishment fears new ideas that could potentially change the political course. This is why we went out from November to January in wind, rain and snow to collect those signatures. We got some help from our activists in this process. The current danger of nuclear war with Russia or in the Middle East and the collapse of the German economy need to be resolved. To further the aforementioned demands of BÜSO, Germany needs science and research as a new engine for a productive industry and give up the green insanity. We need to participate in a fruitful international dialogue among the best traditions of each culture. Germany needs to focus and support more in the health sector, education, agriculture and build tens of thousands of affordable apartments. We are asking all members, supporters and sympathizers throughout Germany for their help in the crucial election campaign in Berlin and for their activities at home. Germany needs a change of course, from the Baltic Sea and the North Sea to the Alps. A BÜSO webpage has made everything available for voters and others about its program and the Berlin candidates. Thank you.
Okay, we have a couple of pictures from the petitioning efforts. You can see some of our intrepid petitioners out there, the beautiful old buildings in the background I love. Okay. speaking to people on the policy proposals. And as Jonathan mentioned, the early elections meant that the petitioning period was in a very cold time of year. Mateus is quite bundled up. And here's some of our organizers in the office: Ilya, Clement, Jonathan, Christoph, and Stefan. And this is a couple of their signs to give you an idea. Cooperation with the BRICS, vote out the warmongers, and this election poster, which translates to vote for Busso on February 23rd, civil rights movement solidarity. And with this success in becoming official candidates on the ballot, today our German organizers were back at it at a large demonstration on the economic crisis in Germany, a demonstration largely of industrialists, but also farmers. And we were there with a beautiful statement titled, in English, "German industry must cooperate with the BRICS." Speaking to people, handing out the statement, here is candidate Stefan Ossenkopf being interviewed. So that is our report from Germany. And now we're going to move to the fight in the United States, where we've had a new administration for under 10 days, and the potential is enormous. And we are right in the thick of things on the fight over the potential confirmations for Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard and FBI Director Kash Patel. We're going to go first to some words from the president of the LaRouche organization, Diane Sayre, in a wonderful interview that she did with Scott Ritter, former UN weapons inspector and real courageous patriot. The link to the full interview will be in the YouTube description, but let's take a few minutes from that. And Scott Ritter is also responding to an article that he has just produced, the Trump Litmus Test, where he highlights two very important executive orders from President Trump on the question of the protection of free speech, or the restoration of the protection of free speech in the United States, and the ending of the weaponization of government.
The establishment that tolerated and condoned this weaponization of government, including the various agencies themselves, are scared to death that Tulsi Gabbard will become the next director of national intelligence, because she will be in a position to know exactly who did what to whom, what orders were given, what money went where. And she will be called upon to carry out these investigations by the President of the United States per his executive order. So I think that's a lot of what's going on right here. We hear a lot of talk about, concern about her lack of qualifications, et cetera, et cetera. No, she's the most qualified person there is to do this job, especially when it comes to truly defending the American people, because she would get at the bottom of this weaponization of the U.S. government to target Americans for the so-called crime of executing their free speech rights. Tulsi Gabbard did so, and she was targeted. I have done so. You have done so. Others have done so. It'll be interesting to see how this goes forward. And one can say the same thing. Kash Patel, although he hasn't been targeted per se, has said he is ready to be the however you want to call it, a scalpel.
Yeah, I think he said he's going to turn the J. Edgar Hoover building into a museum and send the agents out to chase criminals.
Or fire them, or arrest them and prosecute them. But, he's got the right mindset. We need to understand that America can't tolerate business as usual. Business as usual has been nothing more than the criminalization of the very institutions that are enshrined in with the power to protect us from criminals.
Exactly, on the CCD list. I was added to the list when I was the candidate for U.S. Senate running against Chuck Schumer. I know you wrote to Schumer and Gillibrand about funding these activities. I wrote to them also. Saw them personally at some of their town hall meetings. They never had anything to say. And I would just say that the American people, we have to hold these senators' feet to the fire. They are responsible for this. They are going to try and block this nomination of Tulsi Gabbard, and we have to let them know that that is not the appropriate thing to do. There's a reason why Americans don't trust their senators, and it's because they lie. They fund wars that we're not interested in, and they don't seem to be that interested in the well-being of the American people. So I want to really encourage people to mobilize, call, visit, go see your senators. The phones were not ringing off the hook when we were there last week. Jose Vega and a whole bunch of people were down in Washington last week going door to door. We need a lot more activity.
As Diane says, we need more calls, more visits to Senate offices around the country. If you do visit your local representatives' offices, send us a photo. We'll feature it in next week's report. So now we're going to go directly into the swamp, into Washington, D.C., first with a report from our rally from last Thursday. And take it away, Jose.
And go. All right. Hi, everyone. I am out here in front of the Russell Senate office building. Today, we are lobbying the Senate and the House to get Kash Patel and Tulsi Gabbard confirmed. Now, here's the thing. This is not about whether or not they are good people or they even say who they are. But there is a famous saying that goes, "Judge me by my enemies." Why is it that people like Mike Pompeo and John Bolton and just the worst of the worst muck in the deep state are saying, crying and begging that Tulsi Gabbard should not be confirmed in the Senate hearing committees? Why did Chuck Schumer just go on the floor of the Senate saying that the Democrats are going to be unified in not voting for Tulsi Gabbard or Kash Patel? What is actually going on here? Well, today marks 50 years since the church hearings. This was the day that the intelligence committees and the intelligence community was exposed for all the rot and corruption it was doing. And it led to some very good regulations, some good advances in stopping and even deflating the intelligence community. But what we see happening now is that there has been a revival of an intelligence corruption and rot in these buildings, in these agencies. But if we get people like Tulsi Gabbard and Kash Patel nominated and they actually get through, we may be able to deal a blow to the intelligence communities, to these agencies that have been running amok all over the world thinking they run things.
Okay, let's take a look at a few photographs from that rally last week. Here's some of our activists in, I would think, the Hart building, maybe it's the Russell building, charging up, getting the banner out there. You see our dossier, the Liars Bureau, that you can find on the LaRouche organization website. Here is our national activist coordinator, Tim Rush, conducting our folks singing the famous canon Dona Nobis Pacem, which means give us peace. I heard a short recording. It sounded lovely. And here's a shot in front of the banner. And you can see people walking by the banner. Oh, yes, Hart building. You can see people walking by the banner. Some of them take the flyers, but they all get to see us, and some may stop and talk. And we were out there again today. We don't yet have a long, extensive report, but we can share with you a couple. You can tell it's a warmer day, but the wind was quite strong. So here's a couple. There's, again, here out in front of the Russell building there, and you can see people walking by and being attracted to our activity and reading the signs. So now we're going to shift to a more local legislative district where our wonderful California organizer, Lena Platt, took the battle to the Los Angeles City Council. In this case, taking the recent California fires have made it more apparent than ever the need for water development. So Lena took advantage of public comment time, which is available in most city councils around the nation. In New Jersey, there's a sunshine law where they always have to have time available for public comment. So this is something that you can do. Sign up, prepare your materials, and let's go ahead and see Lena.
Good morning. If you could please remind us of the name you signed up under and the items you'd like to speak to.
Lena Platt, general comment.
Okay, so you have 1 minute. Go ahead.
I represent the LaRouche organization. In the wake of the fires, I wanted to promote the North American Water and Power Alliance, which was promoted under President John F. Kennedy and later in the Senate under his brother, designed by the Parsons Engineering Company in Pasadena to bring water from the ice melt in Alaska down to the deserts in California for irrigation, including nuclear power desalination of seawater. These big projects will create the kinds of jobs and transform the humidity in the environment so that what we experienced in the last 2 weeks will not happen again. So I'm urging the council to advocate with the federal government to adopt this program, the North American Water and Power Alliance. Thank you. I have some, I would like to submit
You have paperwork, you
just
can
a
give them to
brief
the sergeant.
article
Yes, go ahead.
for each member of the council. Thank you very much.
Next speaker.
So that was an excellent way to present the material to the council. And she brought with and was distributed to every member of the city council additional materials to read up on the project and to contact us at the LaRouche organization. If you have any reports on going to your city council or questions on how to do so, get in touch, info@laroucheorganization.com. We have 2 more reports that both touch very much on the mobilization for the Oasis plan. The first one is actually from Sweden, where Ulf Sandmark, the chairman of the Schiller Institute in Sweden, was invited to speak on the Al Mayadeen Arabic language TV program in Lebanon last week on the 23rd, and to speak on a range of issues. And what we're viewing right now is he mentions the development of the BRICS process and the importance of the LaRouche Oasis plan as a plan for sustainable peace. He also speaks on the necessity for political leaders to step forward for proposing bold development plans for peaceful cooperation.
وفي مركز شيلر نعمل على مثل هذه المشاريع ما يسمى بمشروع لاروش. وإذا
نعم
أعتقد أن أي شخصية حكومية أو أي شخصية في
The Oasis Plan video produced by the LaRouche organization a couple of years ago is available on the website, on YouTube, translated into 6 or 7 languages, at least 6, including Arabic. So this is something that you can share very broadly. Our last battle report for the evening goes definitely to something that everyone can jump in on, which is setting up opportunities for the presentation of LaRouche's ideas of our policy solutions on independent news media networks. I believe it was just yesterday that EIR and Schiller Institute's Richie Freeman was on a program of Jim Volgamuth, who is an activist with Veterans for Peace in Nashville, Tennessee. And they were discussing, it was a 50-minute program, discussing that the Oasis plan is the way to gain lasting peace in Gaza. And we're gonna look just at the last couple of minutes of this discussion.
What would you have people that are listening do?
We have the third thing, if people can see this, there's a video, and I don't know how many people use these codes, but if they do, but you can get it. You just put LaRouche Oasis plan. I would say if we can mobilize and get people to watch this, but call the senator, call their two senators, call their congressman, and say, we need a peace that's going to endure. Because we don't even know how long this will last. Maybe after this peace plan, the ceasefire is 3 phases. Maybe after the first phase, Netanyahu would say, that's it. We're going back to where we were. Who's going to stand up to him? We have to shift people's thinking, not just locally, globally. There are forces out there like the BRICS. There are forces in other countries. If we can bring America to do that and flood the lines. Now, people may say, well, I don't know. I call my congressman, I got a recording. Those recordings count. We've gone and given packets to everyone. We've got to say we need a genuine peace. Yes, a treaty, but the treaties without development will not work. So we're going to break the psychology that people think that this is going to be a war for 30 years, 50 years, at 100 years, and that no one can end it. It's very important that we show people there is a way to end it, a way that is rational, based on what you would call American methods. We've proven them in our country.
Excellent. Well, we will definitely share it. I hope it takes off. I hope the idea takes off, and hopefully, my hope would be that you have young people listening to this, because they're the group that right now are open-minded enough to say, yeah, let's make it happen.
Let's make it happen. Thank you for tuning into the LaRouche Organization Weekly Battle Report. Don't hold back. Call your senators, call your congressmen, speak at your city council, set up interviews like the presentation that you just saw the conclusion of by Richie Freeman. You can present these ideas yourself in the programs, or contact us and we can find someone, maybe Richie himself, who can join and speak on these programs as well. So thank you, and we will